Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Minnesota News Now here. Just giving a quick update. I shot this video on 7/24, so the information is about a day old. But please enjoy. It's a great interview with the Deputy Chief with Brooklyn Park Police Department. So the next voice you're going to hear is going to be the Deputy Chief of Brooklyn Park Police Department.
About 5 weeks ago, we had an uptick of crime down in the area, 63rd and Zane, which is a small convenience store area. There's about 5 businesses down there. And really in the last 3 weeks, we've seen the increase in violent crime, specifically weapons incidents at that location. Last night at about 6 o'clock, we had a shooting that we believe at least 8 rounds had been fired, potentially between a vehicle and some bystanders that were at the store. And then about 2 hours later, while officers were on scene on a different incident, we had a shooting in the parking lot where one individual sustained a gunshot wound to their leg. I think the important takeaway here is officers did the right thing and they shut down the business just because of how violent that corner is becoming. And it really got out of control when they tried to investigate the shooting. They weren't even able to secure the scene just because of the hostile manner in which the crowd was approaching them. And there just seems to be a real disdain for the police down there.
Are your officers feeling like they're being antagonized more now that everything's been going on lately? Like they're
Yeah, there's no question, and we've talked a lot about it, right? There's a lot of emotions out there in our community and across the nation, and rightfully so. I think there's a lot of emotions with the police officers with what happened recently, but they're definitely antagonizing, and then just a blatant lawless type behavior that they just refuse to move off the property when asked. When we trespass them, they refuse to leave the property, knowing that it's a misdemeanor to trespass, and that at worst they're going to get a ticket or temporarily booked in, and they're actually encouraging officers to come arrest them. They're actually trying to get into a conflict with the officers, and we've been really good about not getting that conflict over a misdemeanor trespassing. The problem that we have is that has elevated into a complete disregard for anything the police say, to include tearing down crime scene tape while they're trying to investigate shootings and trying to render aid to shooting victims. They're now intervening and disrupting that process. So it is now literally on the heels of becoming out of control, and that's why we're really looking for the public's help on a bunch of different fronts.
and all your officers have body cams and dash cams in the car, so they can make sure that we release the information, so we're not just getting one side. We can see everything that happens.
Sure, yeah, body camera. We do have squad camera and body cameras. Obviously, body camera is private data. By data practice law, we cannot release that. Unless you are obviously involved in a officer involved shooting, or you're actually in the video and you can get a copy of your own video. So it can't just release body camera, but there's other evidence. The surveillance video we released showing the shooting and the activities there, and that gives a pretty good indication of what's occurring at that location.
Have you talked to your city attorney or anything and talked to other agencies on how to engage the public to try to minimize the confrontations, to try to do anything like that? Have you guys looked into that yet, or is it just kind of case by case?
Well, I mean, we've talked to our staff and obviously recapped with them. At this moment, we have to police with the understanding that there is a lot of emotion in our community. So we have to police understanding that people are emotional on what they think happened. They're emotional on what they think the police do. And it doesn't matter if we try to prove them right or wrong, they're hurt. And to try to police somebody and tell them and enforce low-level laws right now is very difficult. And it has to be done with a lot of tact and understanding, and really with the attempt to educate. And our cops have been great. I mean, what we would have arrested for on low-level offenses, 3-4 months ago, we're not doing that right now. Cops are really using good discretion and what makes sense in an effort to maintain public safety and build public relations. However, that has now led to complete lawlessness and is becoming dangerous for our community members and for anybody. And to be honest, we're encouraging people not to send their young youth down to the 63rd and Zane area right now. It's just simply not safe for them to go there. And if our community has young adolescents, we're asking them, do not allow them to go down there. It's just becoming an environment that is not safe for them.
Okay. So you guys are kind of from what I hear is you're working more to bridge the gap somewhat without enforcing this low level stuff because you understand the hurt of the community.
Yeah. And this isn't anything new to us. I mean, this is ingrained in our DNA here at the Brooklyn Park Police Department. You know, we spent the better part of the last 8 to 10 years heavily involved in community engagement, everything from cops and kids fishing to basketballs to dancing with the kids to our school resource officers and how they interact with the kids at the school. I mean, we have very intently intertwined community engagement in every level of our police department. The problem is now it's never more important, and it's been very difficult to do those type of activities and build that relationship when there's just, because of the uniform, a complete disdain for the police. And while we completely respect how we got there and understand why that is, it is leading to a point now it's becoming dangerous. We have kids getting shot. We had a bystander 2 weeks ago pumping gas get shot just because they got caught up in the crossfire. It is, this lawlessness behavior is literally jeopardizing and hurting people and is going to kill people, and it has to stop.
Are there any community leaders like in Minneapolis there's Mad Dads? Is there anything up here in this area that has worked with you guys with a community outreach at all?
So we have community outreach that we actually deploy. There are community members that have a contract with the city and they go out there. So we've been in contact. They do a lot of work in these low income areas, and they do work down here at 63rd and Zane, with the location that we're talking about. And they've reported back that it's tough. I mean, they're trying to work with them, but there is clearly gangs that are down there. There are clearly people that have just empowered to feel like they should be carrying a gun. So there's many people down there carrying guns all hours of the day. And even they're putting their hands up saying, we don't know what we can do for you. There's just a complete disregard for law enforcement or laws in general.
All right, here's a copy of the press release from Brooklyn Park Police Department. I will go ahead and include this in the description of the video as well. Thank you for watching. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Minnesota News Now out.